In this video, we're going to talk about whether racetams or modafinil are the better nootropic for the kind of brain state and brain function that a programmer needs to have to sit down and code and get things done and have solid working memory and have work endurance. Coming up. All right, preliminary stuff out of the way. Fast forward to the content if you don't want to hear us talk about our nootropic products, but we've got powerful nootropic products. Not only are we an information, a robust information source for nootropics on the web, we're also a nootropics product company. We've got 2 digital books that describe nootropic stacks, get down to specificity on racetams. There's one book called the Racetam Guide. We'll just start there. That is a book that explains all the major racetams. It's very practical. It's got 80 plus racetam stacks. It's got sublingual racetam stacks, everything you need to know about each racetam, and then a list of highly effective oral nootropic stacks with that racetam, a bunch of other information related to racetam. That's called the Racetam Guide. Get it at livecortex.com. We've got a general but very specific and very surgical nootropics protocol book that's called Smarter, Better, Faster. That's the book if you are 1 to 10 years into nootropics and you want to learn more better stacks, distinctions about nootropics, why folks take nootropics, who takes nootropics, what chemicals nootropics work on, and then just a list of very, very powerful stacks that are my personal stacks that I've acquired over the years. Protocols, like a protocol book. You've got modafinil, caffeine, theanine. You've got ANR micro protocol. That's an ANIRACETAM protocol. A bunch of other different specific nootropic stacks that reach specific brain states. It's called Smarter, Better, Faster. Get that at livecortex.com. We also built the pre-made stack. And by the way, those of you that watched the video where we talked about we're coming up with other stacks, those are coming sooner than we think. They're going to be incredible. But for those of you that have not tried the Cortex stack, this is our stack. This is our commercial pre-made stack. Sells in 12 countries. Cortex is basically like the closest we could get to a natural version of modafinil. We combined uridine monophosphate, CDP choline, artichoke extract, and bacopa monnieri in a way that really creates a profound motivation, verbal fluency, speed of processing, working memory. I mean, this is the mental fluidity. Turn your brain on to do productivity kind of tasks in nootropic. Get those nootropic products at livecortex.com. Okay, one of the number one things that I get via email, questions via email, is like, here's my discipline, and so which nootropic should I take for this? I've experimented with a couple of nootropics, different kinds of nootropics that affect different systems, and I'm still kind of unsure what do you suggest? And a subset of that, of those inquiries are programmers. And the programmers are like, number one, what should I take? And a few programmers have asked me, should I, I've experimented with both racetams and modafinil. I can't really figure out which is better for me. What do you think? My take on what's better for a programmer to sit down and do code, to write code, to have constant working memory of all the other code that's going on, right? To be able to constantly reference their long-term memory and understanding functions, how to write functions, and then how to go and like sit on Stack Overflow, which is like a website that gives you information about programming or where you might be stuck and other things related to code, to figure out problems and to constantly problem solve. I think intuitively folks might be thinking I'm going to say modafinil. Folks probably think like modafinil might be the best route for programming, but I'm not going to say that, and I don't agree. I learned Ruby on Rails a couple years ago just to see if I wanted to be interested in it. It was the kind of thing about building an application. I ended up learning it and building a basic productivity app, but I didn't really like it. It's just like not me. I don't like to code. I just didn't like any bit of it, but I learned it. And so my answer would be racetams. My answer would definitely be racetams over modafinil for programming. And the reason is because, look, modafinil is pretty good for programming. It's actually really great because it'll give you a lot of mental endurance, a lot of just full-on brain capacity to sit and do your work. But my practical mind just like recognizes there's just so much functional brain performance rather than just sped up brain performance. It needs to take place, working memory, speed of processing, problem solving, creativity, abstract thinking, that racetams really open up a diverse set of full-on brain function and brain capacity around these functions, much more than modafinil does for those particular tasks. So you can get racetams that'll not only speed the brain up and give you stimulation like modafinil will, like phenylpiracetam as an example, and like a combination of OXIRACETAM and ANIRACETAM in 1,000 and then 500 milligrams respectively. That's just one strategy right there. where you could get that extra stimulation and you get the good functional working memory, the good speed of processing, the good abstract thinking capacity, the good creative thinking capacity because you have a better working memory, and you still got that good stimulation. Okay, so my answer would definitely be Racetams over Modafinil for programming. That isn't to say that one couldn't take Modafinil for programming and get good results, because I absolutely think they can. But again, the question is, do you want your brain to work better or do you want it to just work faster? Some people might be okay with it just being a lot faster than them having a whole lot of mental endurance. Fine, go the Modafinil route. But ultimately, my suggestion after 8.5 years of taking nootropics, learning programming myself, and then really answering this question for people, having people go and apply my suggestions. Like I've suggested PRAMIRACETAM specifically for programming, PRAMIRACETAM, OXIRACETAM, ANIRACETAM for programming, and folks went and engaged in it and were like, yeah, you were right. I mean, I'm quantifiably better. My hours of productivity are better. I'm getting more done. I'm looking through like all the code that I punched in today, and I have less mistakes. I would absolutely say Racetams. Getting a little more specific for those of you that want to take away, I would say, a few good stacks would be the following. Number 1, 1,000 milligrams OXIRACETAM, 500 milligrams ANIRACETAM, and a choline source. Okay, choline source could either be 500 milligrams choline by tartrate, these are my suggestions, and or 75 to 200 milligrams of alpha GPC. Okay, that's stack number 1. Stack number 2 would be 10 milligrams CHOLINE, 10 milligrams oral CHOLINE, 150 milligrams CDP choline. It's a choline source, bioavailable choline source, works on dopamine, works on mental fluidity. And then I would throw in there 10 milligrams of vinpocetine. That increases brain energy and oxygen. That's like a good, solid, functional nootropic stack. And then the third stack that I would suggest for a situation like this would be 250 milligrams PRAMIRACETAM, and then 175 milligrams of alpha GPC. Okay, just specific on that one, because PRAMIRACETAM really seems to put acetylcholine into use a little, at least in my experience, a little more than some of the other Racetams, so you probably need that good source of alpha GPC. That would be my suggestion. 250 milligrams PRAMIRACETAM, 175 milligrams of alpha GPC. So use those stacks, take those stacks. Again, everybody's, my advice on stacks is pretty specific over time. I got a lot of experience, a lot of anecdotal stuff, a lot of effectively beta testing on my stacks with people via this large reach that we've got via the podcast, the website. We've got a whole bunch of people that buy the Cortex stack and our products. So we're getting emails every day. And we're interacting with folks every day. But, titrate accordingly. On that last stack, you might want to take the PRAMIRACETAM dosage up 20 milligrams and see where we're at. Either way, titrate in small increments. You might require more alpha GPC, maybe 100 more. You might require less alpha GPC, maybe 75 milligrams more, right? So titrate accordingly, find your sweet spot, but those are pretty refined stacks for the type of brain function you need, to sit down and code for hours, because I know how you guys do it. I know some of my best friends are programmers, and you guys just sit there for hours and do it. And that's totally awesome. I admire that a lot. I like to sit down also and just focus on stuff for hours at a time, and it's awesome. But overall, though Modafinil will give you good solid brain energy and work endurance, I definitely would choose Racetams over Modafinil for the type of brain function, the speed of processing, the working memory, the abstract thinking, the sort of knowing where you are in the grander scheme of things for all that different stuff you're having to look through for programming. Thanks for watching.